Photos have been circulating of a 17-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl who are about to get married. Those pre-wedding photos, when they came out, were thought as maybe a joke. But it is true. This 17-year-old boy and this 15-year-old girl in Sokoto are about to be married, which has thrown up a lot of questions about child marriage. A lot of people have seen child marriage mostly from the little girls who are married to older men. But this is the first time a lot of people are seeing a young kid, a young boy married to a young girl. All or both below the ages of 18. What does that mean? Is this a new trend? How does that affect the society, all of us in general? My name is Gloria Oje Emodi. To have this conversation, I have right here in the studio Mary Ikoku. She is the founder of Working Moms. Working Moms, welcome.
Nice having me.
Okay, and we have Barrister Eddie Inegudu. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have you here both in the sense that you can explain better as the point of a legal practitioner, and of course you have been running an NGO, but both of you are parents. So let's start as parents. Starting with you, Barrister Eddie, a 17-year-old boy about to get married. What went through your head when you heard or saw those pictures?
If you cast yourself back to, particularly as a guy, as a man, no, as a boy.
As a boy? Age. I mean, 17.
Because at 17, if you want to look at the age of consent from both sides and all the laws I have seen, it's either it is 18 or 21. So at that age, it still remains a minor. So, but having said that, within our own system, there is no law that definitely, how do I say, fix a marriage age.
I see.
Yes, because I think the only attempts that have been made were on the side of the woman, at the side of the girl, on the side of the girl. But for a man, I think this news actually got me really thinking whether it should not be balanced on both sides.
And because it's such an isolated case or something we're not used to, I don't think the legal framework, I don't even think any set of group of people have ever considered the boy child as being probably disadvantaged or maybe taken advantage of in this situation. That's why it's such a big story. Mary, as a parent, for both, I mean, your son, your daughter, imagine that kind of situation or union. What went through your mind when you saw those?
Yeah, I thought it was a joke, and when I realized it was real, what came to mind was there's a parental failure here. Then again, I realized, no, some part of the country, these things has been happening. You know, if you notice, when I raised this issue in a forum, someone said, come on, Mary, why are you disturbing our ears here? Look, the age of consent for those people is 13 years.
Exactly.
So it's so natural for them. You shouldn't
and when
bring
you say
this
people up north.
Yes, you know, and it makes me wonder how much of a divide we've had in this country, that we really don't watch out for the other person. Because I'm looking at my son, who is going to be 17 next year, and I'm wondering, because ask him to make eba, he can't even put things together very well. So I'm imagining him as a spouse or my daughter, you know. So these are some of the things that came to mind. But hey, we really have a lot of work to do.
Let's even talk about it. He's 17, she's 15. That they are married means they are permitted to have sexual intercourse.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, you see, consummation, that is what makes a marriage.
Exactly.
In 2013, there was an attempt in the National Assembly to place an age limit on marriage. I remember it very well. At the first reading and the first listing, the voice vote was unanimous. Everybody agreed that, look, it should not be less than 18. But when Senator Yerima stood up and opposed it on religious grounds, the second vote did not even score up to the required 2/3. Now, I'm saying this because I'm from this part of the divide. And I'm from the Middle Belt. Okay. But whether you call it Middle Belt, it's still a North Central. That's what the Constitution says, or mentions it. I was born in Kaduna, I schooled in ABU, I did NYC in Maiduguri. So much of my
upbringing and your
interactions were in all of these areas. And like Yerima did in the National Assembly, the easiest thing for people to say to you, it's either in Nigeria, you hide under culture or you hide under religion. So once you go under culture, even the whole of your community, the clan, the whole, how do I call it? The whole state can even lock you out.
Exactly.
Because you want to challenge something that they don't find any problem with. Once, in the North particularly, once you go under religion, it becomes a problem. And I've told my friends, I said, look, even Yemen is an Islamic state. Yemen has an 18-year, how do I call
age
it?
Age limit
baseline.
for getting
yes,
married.
Baseline.
Yes.
Right. Turkey, for instance, as much as we say Turkey is secular, Turkey is more of an Islamic country. Turkey also has an age limit for these things. Now, you see, in the course of my studies in Zaria, part of in one of the classes, which I don't want to mention, a lecturer actually told us this is one of the issues that came up. And a lecturer told us that in one of the schools of thought, that once you're 9, a girl of 9 is fit for sex and is fit for marriage. Now, so while my sister Mary is talking about helping, we need to really understand that you cannot help somebody who has
who doesn't see they need help. It is a part of their culture.
The National Assembly will have helped at that point. That's one. 2, there's the Child Rights Act.
I wanted to bring that up, especially.
The Child Rights Act is a federal legislation. So it only applies to federal territories and institutions. For instance, in a military barrack, it does not belong to a state. FCT is a federal territory. But in all the states need to domesticate this law.
Exactly.
They need to make it their own laws for it to work. And each of these states have a right in domesticating these laws to even remove the age that has to do with marriage, which some of the states have done. That's there. And then 2, like I said previously, once you hide in another religion, it goes. Now, let me talk about one other issue. She referred to the issue of consent, which is absolute in these circumstances. The Marriage Act, Section 18 and 19, particularly talks about the issue of consent. But who is given the consent? The father or the mother, or if there's no father, there's no mother, there's no uncle, the governor can give his consent. If there's no governor, a judge can give his consent. So the 17-year-old boy, whether he knows what he's doing or not, the 15-year-old girl, whether she knows what is happening or not, the parents can sit on their own in one corner and give the consent.
And they're married.
And the issue is resolved.
Mary, let's bring in all the things that we need to worry, or for the people who are worried. Let's talk about health-wise. A 15-year-old girl, a young man of 17. Of course, when they consummate the marriage, pregnancies, having children, very possible. Do we need to worry about that? Psychologically, I mean, we're adults, and a lot of adults are grappling with marriage. How much more, how can 15, 17, and do you see a possibility of their parents helping, or how their parents can help? Let's just assume that culture and religion in that part permits, which it does, permits what's going on.
So I think there's a lot of ignorance out there, and we need to educate a lot of these parents from this section of this part of the country, so that they begin to see beyond religion or culture and begin to understand to what extent the lives of these young people can be maimed.
So part of these things too, poverty is part of it. Ignorance is part of it. But why I don't want to use the issue of ignorance, because I have had occasions to debate some of these things with my very close friends. And once it goes under religion and culture, it's a locked gate. Because you can no longer come out to say, this is not how this thing should be, because it simply delves into the arena of you challenging what a man believes is right for him religiously. That's why it took us to Yemen and some other places. Now, but marriage comes with its own different set and circumstances of challenges.
I see. And don't we all know that as adults anyways? Please give us your comments on the comment section of this video. You have seen these pictures. We have even seen people saying, I mean, if they can, let them get married. But then there's so much to this conversation that we need to look at. My name is Gloria Ojemodi. Thank you to Mary Kuku for taking our time to talk to us, and Barrister Eddie Inigedu for being here. All right, you're watching Roots TV Nigeria.